This is Ta-Nehisi Coates. In addition to being a staff writer here at Time Magazine, I'm also a World of Warcraft addict. There are millions of us out here, and so I wanted to give you guys, a tour of the world. This is my avatar. His name is Long Axe. He is a night elf, which is one of several races in the World of Warcraft. You basically have to pick between two sides when you assume an avatar in this world. You have the Horde and you have the Alliance. And these are sort of derived from traditional fantasy notions, like they're orcs and trolls on one side, and on the other side they're elves and they're humans and they're dwarves and they're gnomes. But World of Warcraft sort of rejects the idea of evil, so even though these guys are on the traditional sides, none of them are particularly evil. This is my guild, Gnomeland Security. The name is obviously a takeoff of Homeland Security. This is pretty funny because we have no actual gnomes in the picture. But if you look at it, you can get an idea of what sort of races we have in World of Warcraft. We have, the elves, we have the humans. Kneeling down there, you can see also the dwarves too. So that's us, and we are standing outside of Stormwind, the city of Stormwind. This is an area in the city of Ironforge, and Ironforge is the capital city of the dwarves, and right now, at this point in the lore, also the capital city of the gnomes. This is the bridge area between the bank and the auction house, and it's an area of a lot of economy and a lot of trade. People come there to sell their services. They go over to the auction house to sell their goods. They store their goods in the bank, and as you know, any area of trade becomes, it's a center of sort of the whole city, and so people come around here and they just talk, or they'll dance, or they'll do whatever, catch up with old friends. You might see somebody that, you haven't seen in a long time, much like the real world. This is outside the city of Ironforge, and this is the gates, and people often gather here to have what they call duels in World of Warcraft, and which is basically just a grudge match between you and another character, and people, do that to have bragging rights, to test their own skills, just to try to get better at playing their character. So you could stand out here and you'll see, wizards and mages fighting, warriors fighting paladins or paladins, fighting rogues, all sorts of classes and different race combinations, just trying to test their skills against each other. This is me flying on a griffin outside the city of Stormwind, and Stormwind is the capital city of the humans. At this point in the lore, one of the things that makes World of Warcraft strong is that it pulls from about 10 years of lore, and at this point in the story, Stormwind is a city that has just been rebuilt, having been burned down actually in one of the earlier games. For many characters in the game, this is the first big city that they actually see, and it's quite impressive for the first time. Just like seeing any other big city in the real world. This is my character, Long Axe, and I am here with my guild, and we are fighting in a horde town called the Crossroads. And oftentimes what characters will do is, or what guilds will do, is they'll attack other city towns. Not with much goals, just, pretty much to clear out the town and to kill as many, other characters as they can, and that's what we're doing here. And you can see me aiming my crossbow into the crowd, and I am quite pleased to see an orc fleeing the scene. There are many ways to get around in World of Warcraft. Some people travel by bat, some people travel by zeppelin, people travel by tram, people travel by boat. By far my favorite way is to travel by hippogriff. And so here is the Hippogriff Master, who you usually just talk to, and if you give him just a certain amount of money, you can pretty much, fly to anywhere on whatever continent you're on. And one of the cool things about, flying is you get to see all the scenery from an aerial view of the, entire world. And quite a few beautiful shots, as, we'll see as we go through the rest of this. So here I am, not on a hippogriff, but on a griffin, which is one of the other ways that you can travel. Not much difference, actually. In the background, you can see the goblin town of Gadgetzan, and Gadgetzan is a neutral city. All of the goblin cities are neutral, meaning that any race or any faction that can actually come there and do business, or do whatever they have to do, do some questing or whatever. If you fight in these towns, the guards automatically attack you, and so that generally keeps the peace between the two sides of Alliance and the Horde. This next picture is of the South Fury River, and I think one of the cool things about World of Warcraft is the developers spent a lot of time just crafting the world and making it, look as much like a real world as possible. And so I always think of the South Fury River like you think of the Nile and the Amazon. It travels through several different what are called zones, or basically different areas occupied by different people, from the land of the elves, all the way down to sort of neutral territory into, areas that are dominated by the orcs. This is me flying on a hippogriff in probably my favorite zone in the game, and this is, Winter Spring, and in the background you can see an ice bridge. Winter Spring is always covered by snow and ice. The goblins have a town here also. Just one of the more beautiful zones in the game. People, there's the, aspect of playing the game, to fulfill whatever game goals you have, getting more loot, killing more monsters, etc. But there's also just the idea of seeing things and the element of exploration in World of Warcraft. And when you see a place like Winter Spring, that really brings it to life for you. So if you look at the architecture in World of Warcraft, it's all based off architecture from our world. And so the orcs, for instance, which we see here, this is an orc sea, is based off of West African culture. One of the interesting things about that is traditionally in fantasy, orcs, trolls, etc. are considered evil races. But one of the really nice touches in World of Warcraft is the sort of rejection of blanket evil, and the orcs in World of Warcraft have their own sort of narrative, they have their own sort of struggles and things that they're trying to achieve. This is my character flying through the Ungaro Crater, and Ungaro Crater is just another one of, sort of those beautiful zones that, just highly differentiated from other zones in the game. And what you can see here is two dinosaurs in the background. And so Ungaro Crater has its own sort of mythology and everything. The idea is that it was once hit by a meteor, and so that's caused all sorts of life forms that, are not native to anywhere else in the World of Warcraft to sprout here.